Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a colony PCR. This is a way of figuring out whether you have a part that you want in your plasmid, like if an assembly worked, off of colonies. So you don't need to wait to grow up the culture and then mini prep. It's kind of a shortcut, so it's a way to screen ahead of time. So basically what it involves is we're going to make a PCR mixture. It's a special colony PCR mixture. We're going to aliquot it into a PCR strip. We're going to touch the colonies from our plate that we plated yesterday into that PCR mixture, as well as to some culture. And we're going to remember that this tube corresponds to that well. We're going to run this PCR, we're going to on the thermocycler, then we're going to run it out in a gel, and we're going to see if we have the right size bands. If we do have the right size bands, then we know that whatever well corresponded to that band is correct, and we'll just mini prep those for further analysis. So before we begin, we'll just take a look at our little parts, or rather our calculator. We have the colony PCR recipe, and we're doing 8, so I just set in 9 just because of pipetting error. And basically it's just water, buffer, DNTPs, a couple of primers, and then our tack buffer. So that's all we're going to be setting up. This is a master mix times 9, which means that we're going to be able to pipette out about 8 or 9. So we'll start off with that. I'm going to just grab my pt1 and put in 189 microliters of water. So set that to 189. So when you start making these master mixes above 3 or 4 or 10, you don't want to make your master mix in the Petri strip or PCR strip, because the volume may be larger than the actual volume of the PCR strip, which I think is 200 microliters. So we're actually going to make our master mix in a 1.5 ml heavy tube. So I'm going to get my water. This is double distilled or double deionized water that has been autoclaved. This is really clean water. Always want to use this for your reactions. You don't want to use the tap water. That has all sorts of junk in it, and you don't even want to use the DI water, because that's still really just bad stuff. So 189 microliters of water. Check my pipette, make sure it looks good, and that goes into our tube. That's the first ingredient. Then we're going to need 22.5 microliters of tack buffer. So let's get my same pipette, P200. And this is kind of right on the edge. The P200 does 20 to 200, and we're doing 22.5. So it's not going to be the most accurate liquid handling step, but it's a pretty robust procedure. So 22.5. And we're going to grab the buffer. And this is a 10x buffer. So 22.5, and when I'm done with an ingredient, I just place it back where it came from. Next ingredient is DNTPs, and we're going to be using 4.5 microliters of those. And my P20 is not missing. Oh, there it is. So 4.5 microliters of DNTPs. Now these are the 10x, or rather the 10 millimolar DNTPs. In a lot of our recipes we're using the 2 millimolar, so you always want to double check what the millimolar, what the concentration is on your DNTPs. For colony PCR, this recipe we use 10 millimolar. So just be aware of that for most recipes, or for most PCRs. 4.5 microliters goes into the master mix. I'm checking my pipette tip to make sure that looks about right. Move the ingredient back to its place, and then we just add our primers. It's going to be 4.5 microliters of each primer, so I don't got to change anything. I have a primer that is going to be binding outside of the part that I cloned in, so in the vector backbone, as well as inside of the part. So I'm bracketing that part. So the only way I'm ever going to get a band is if that part is in that plasmid. 4.5 microliters of the plasmid that is inside of my part being added to my master mix. And then 4.5 microliters of the plasmid that is in the vector backbone. And then I can plasmid back. And then the last item is going to be tack. And recipe calls for 1 microliter of tack. So just set it to 1. And I'm just going to go grab that out of the freezer real quick. So our tack is right here. This is our homebrew tack. Take out 1 microliter. When I'm pipetting, I just put my pipette tip just into the bottom of that surface, let it equilibrate, and then I'm dragging the pipette tip up the wall of the tube to get rid of any excess that might have gotten stuck on the outside of the wall of the pipette tip. I put the enzyme in our master mix, double checking that tip. And now you can see, if we take a look at the master mix, tap it down, that volume would never fit in there, so that's why we're going to use this volume. I'm going to give it a quick buzz on Vortex, tap it down one more time, and now we're going to distribute our master mix into the Petri strip. Or not Petri strip, PCR strip. Let's get that confused. So we have 25 microliter master mix. Now, I made 9, so I can set it to 25 and be confident that's going to work. If I had set it to 8, I would probably be aliquoting about 24, 23, just to make sure that I had enough to get through the entire process. So, we're going to be doing colony PCR in 8 samples. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, gotta tap it down one more time to get number 8. And 8. So now if we look at it, I don't think I would have had enough to do 9, so that's why I added 1 extra one on. We can ditch both of those. And now this PCR strip is ready to receive its material, its starting material. So we'll set this aside for now. Now what we need to do is we need to prep our block. So this is an empty block. We want to use sterile technique. So I'm just going to flame it and put it down. And I'm going to use our large pipette here to distribute our media. But I can't get the media out of the bottle like this. It wouldn't be able to reach inside of there. So we use these little smaller guys. What we do is just kind of flame them and then fill them up from the original bottle using the sterile technique. So flame, flame, and fill. And then flame one more time. And then what I do is I'm realizing I think I'm out of the pipette tips for this. But what I would do is I would grab a pipette tip, jam it on, flame off that pipette tip, and then I would be pulling out 3 milliliters from a little small Falcon tube of LV amp and be putting it into here. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to grab